But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness and came and sat down under a broom tree. And he prayed that he might die. He's wanting to die here. He said, God, just go ahead and save me the agony of letting her do it. You just take me out. Notice right here that I might die. And he said, it is enough. Now, Lord, take my life, for I am no better than my fathers. Verse 5, then as he lay and slept under a broom tree, suddenly an angel touched him and said to him, arise and eat. Then he looked, and there by his head was a cake baked on coals and a jar of water. So he ate and drank and lay down again. And the angel of the Lord came back the second time and touched him and said, arise and eat, because the journey is too great for you. So he arose and ate and drank, and he went in the strength of that food 40 days and 40 nights. And as far as Horeb, the mountain of God, and he went into a cave. Notice where he's going. He's going to the furthest place away from her. Right out of it. God didn't tell him to go way out there. It doesn't say anything that God told him to go anywhere. He felt threatened. He's running. And there he went into a cave and spent the night into that place. What's a cave? What does a cave become in our life? It's constantly when the devil begins to attack, if it's our finances, if it's our health, what do? We got to stand. We got to stand. He began to run. He didn't stand still and listen to God. He didn't present himself and say, God, I need your help. God, what am I supposed to be doing? God, because she threatened me, where am I supposed to be going? He took off on his own will. We do the same thing sometimes. Our own will. We go by our own thinking. And there he went into a cave and spent the night in that place. And behold, the word of the Lord came to him and said to him, what are you doing here? That's what God's saying to the church this morning. What are you doing here? Where are you at this morning? Where are you at? He's asking us this morning, where's our relationship with him this morning? Where is our relationship with him this morning? What are we doing? Why did the enemy push us in that cave? Why does the enemy push us in a dark place that nobody can see Jesus in our life? Nobody. It's the same way with Elijah. He's over here calling fire down from heaven. Next thing you know, he's in a dark place. He can't do nothing. Because he's filled up with the spirit of fear. So he said, I have been very zealous of the Lord God of hosts. Let's see here, I'm on verse 9. And there he went into a cave and spent the night in that place. And behold, the word of the Lord came to him, said, what are you doing here, Elijah? So he said, I have been very zealous for the Lord God of hosts, for the children of Israel. I have forsaken your covenant, torn down your altars, and killed your prophets with a sword, and I alone am left, and they seek to take my life. Verse 11, then he said, go out and stand on the mountain. Here God's speaking to him. Go out on the mountain before the Lord, and behold, the Lord passed by, and a great and strong wind tore into the mountains, and he broke the rocks in the places before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind. After the wind, an earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earthquake. And after the earthquake, a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. After the fire, a still small voice. So it was when Elijah heard it that he wrapped his face in his mantle and went out and stood in the entrance of the cave. Suddenly a voice came to him and said, again, what are you doing, Elijah? What are you doing, Elijah? And he said, I have been very zealous. Here he goes. Very zealous for the Lord God of hosts, because the children of Israel have forsaken your covenant, tore down your altars, killed your prophets. With a sword I alone am left, and they seek to take my life. Notice, now, here he goes. Can you imagine what he's feeling? Can you imagine where he's come from to where he's at now? He's in a place that he's not, his spiritual man's not working. He's not working this way. And it begins to be like these kids, and they get in school, they begin to be tormented by, hey, I'm a Christian. It's like, yeah. They laugh at them, man. They begin to push their light out. They said, Jesus said, we're the light of the world. But if he would allow the world to push us around and blow our light out, where are we going to stand? God's going to be saying, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing this morning? It's like Peter. Peter was in a place when he said, Lord, I won't go nowhere. He said, Peter, you'll deny me 3 times before the cock crows. What happened in his life? He denied Christ. Cock-a-doodle-doo. What did he do? He was in that dark place. He was in the same place. He was in the same place Elijah was. He was in the cave. Because when they was going, oh, I seen you with Jesus. No, you didn't see me. What did he say? He denied him. He said, I wasn't there. It wasn't me. You're lying. How many times did he deny him? 3 times, and he realized, I'm in that place. They get it. What if it stood up? What if it stood up? What's going to happen if we deny Christ? Are we willing to stand up for Jesus this morning? Is he asking us, what are you doing here? Where are you at this morning with God? What are we doing? Are we the light of the world God called us to be? Are we? He's calling us into a different dimension this morning. I was worshiping over, I seen it. God showed me. You know what? We hold the key to the gate. Get out of the cave.
Come on now.
As we was in the cave, he showed me a cave and seen bars, chains, but the lock was on our side, not his. We hold the key. Well, we going to get out of the cave, or we're going to get out of the darkness, or we're going to get back in God's will? He showed me that. Are we this morning? We're going to come out of the darkness. I believe God's calling us to a different dimension this morning. Walk higher than the world, regardless of what they say. Look at Elijah. Look at Peter. He denied him. Can you imagine? Are you this morning? Are you saved this morning? Maybe you're just one of them that got born into darkness. Maybe you just never been to church. Maybe you was there. You've been there the whole time looking out the gate. God's going, I'm right here. I'm right here, but you hold the key to get the gate open. You hold the key to your life. You hold your key to your salvation. With what you say and what you do with it is your choice this morning.
Come on now.
Are you willing to say, God, I'm here? He's asking you. What are you doing?
Amen.
What are we doing with what he sent down here, which is Jesus? What are we doing with him? Are we working with him? We all fail. We all fail. We all make mistakes. We've got to get back up. Look at Elijah. What he just done. You know, when we start doing something for God, and God starts working through us, that's when the enemy don't like us.
Amen.
He does. The world don't like us. When you start seeing God move in your life, what does he do? The enemy starts saying, I got to stop that. I got to stop that in his life this morning. I need him in a dark place. I need to bring somebody along. Say, hey, here's you some drugs, you young kids. Right when you start doing something for God, watch out, here comes the devil. He's going to be knocking on your door. God's watching you. He knows your every move. He knows where you stand this morning. I don't know where you stand this morning, but he's asking you, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? What are you doing